Back in January 2023, it blew up on our social media. I was here in Bielefeld sitting on a huge vertical lathe, vertical turning centre. I think it was an 11-metre table. This one is a new series back here in Bielefeld, and this is the VT range. Lee, I've lost a little bit of weight. I'm a little bit smaller. This is a little bit smaller, but it's still something new from you guys.
It is, but this table's only a quarter of the size, Paul, and you're not a quarter
no,
of the
I've
size.
not lost that much. So why have you introduced this range quickly before we get into looking at some of the key points?
We've introduced this range to be competitive in a nutshell. We've not lost any of the capability of the old range of VTLs, but this is at a really competitive price point.
Okay, now the structure here is really interesting. To me, I haven't seen machines like this often without all the guarding around them. What I note here is these concrete pillars, one either side. Normally these are like in a foundation or parts of the construction of the machine. This is different.
It is different. The older machines sit in a quite complicated pit structure foundation. This is really simple. It's a flat floor with a plinth, and then we build the machine from there. So the first part of the machine that we build is the column, single column, thermosymmetrical, fabricated steel, very stiff, very heavily dampened through design.
So I guess it cuts a lot of the cost out of the machine and the installation, because working with a customer, you'll get these concrete plinths in place, and then it starts with a machine installation with the column going on top.
Exactly that. So we put the column in, then we build the cross rail onto the column. So the cross rail is movable, the W axis if you like, in 100mm increments. The saddle sits on the cross rail with the ram with 1.75 metres into the saddle.
I mean, let's look at this, because without the garden on, you've got two box skyways quite far apart. You've got your hydrostatic technology. That's quite important, certainly with heavier duty large part machining, which is what you do here at Bielefeld.
Sure. So the distance of the guideways is important. We use hydrostatics on all of our large machines, as you already know. We've talked about hydrostatics a lot. The ram is completely enclosed with hydrostatic bearings, and the spindle is incorporated inside the ram, so it's a stiff setup of the machine for milling, drilling, and also for the turning operations.
Okay, so this is fundamentally a vertical turning centre.
Sure.
However, you introduce different processes. Now, you talk about milling, drilling, and all those various things. What you're saying here is that's inside the spindle rather than maybe just an attachment you add on.
Sure.
That's quite a big feature.
It's a big feature. A lot of people use an attachment. It increases length, you lose rigidity. So we keep the rigidity. We have a high power spindle inside, the high power and torque spindle inside the ram. It's all about productivity.
Doing everything in one hit. Now this robot, this KUKA robot here then, that I guess is then, feeding the tools, the heads that you talk about, all from this kind of carousel but behind.
Well, the robot design gives us flexibility. So we can load the turning tools directly onto the ram, we can load the milling tools or drilling tools directly into the spindle, or we can load the heads, could be a fork head or a 90-degree head, or even a double transmit head, directly onto the ram, tools into the heads. There's nothing you can't do.
Okay, now this point's really interesting because, Lee, when I look at these machines, sometimes you see double columns. You have one column either side of the table. You have a Y-axis in the middle where the table moves in and out. Of course, that's a much bigger footprint, but people would argue you get more flexibility. You can do more with it. How do you overcome that challenge as a sales argument by offering a single table machine? Or single column machine?
On a single column machine, you can't move the table in and out. So what we have is a double transmit function, which is a virtual Y-axis. In simple terms, you can rotate the table or rotate the workpiece, at the same time rotate the head and move a linear axis. And what that delivers you is a flat surface, or you can produce holes off-centre. So to do anything off-centre, you need a Y-axis. So we're delivering that at a very low cost, but very effectively.
That's a bit like a lathe, a turning centre, where you create flats across flats.
Absolutely.
It's the same principle, isn't it? And then finally, this table, 2.5 metres in size, pretty big.
Yeah, 2.5 metres in size. It's not big for us, but you're right, it's pretty big. It's a brand new design. It's a direct drive torque motor, and it sits on an ultra high strength concrete base.
Okay, well, it needs to hold us to. Fabulous new range from Starrag. There is actually one machine here available, which we're going to talk about later, which is available from stock. But the new VT range from Starrag. Lee, it's been fantastic to do this again. Maybe we'll be back here in a couple of years' time looking at an even smaller one, and maybe, who knows, I might be smaller again.
Who knows?